Welcome back, Ghost Nerd fans, and today I'm going to be going over the possibilities of Cedar Fair's next roller coaster removals for every single park. Again, this isn't anything the parks have announced, this isn't what Cedar Fair has announced, but going off of their trend of taking out roller coasters from Vortex and Firehawk and Volcano the Blast Coaster, I just thought it'd be kind of a cool idea to kind of look and see what possible coasters will be taken out next by Cedar Fair, and I have list reasons why I think those specific roller coasters will be next to be taken out. Then again, take everything with a grain of salt. This is all my opinions, and I will give reasons behind why I think every individual ride I have on my list will be taken out, and I decided to throw in Michigan's Adventure as well because I don't feel like it's too safe, and I will post out a video the next following week as a sequel to it, and it will basically be my predictions for the next roller coasters to come to every Cedar Fair park, and exactly what year possibly those rides could be coming in for each park. But anyway, let's get down to every park's next roller coaster removal. Okay, to start off with, I'm going to be starting off my home Cedar Fair Park, which is Kings Island. The next roller coaster I can see going is Invertigo, and I do not see them taking it out till about 2026, but my prediction for that being it's one of the only few inverted boomerangs around, and the parts for Stinger will last so far before they basically have to totally scrap Stinger, Invertigo and Stinger. And its parts, even though Invertigo really doesn't take too much real estate, I do feel like they're going to eventually throw in the towel. But if not Invertigo, I could probably see either the Bat or the Racer taking the axe next for Kings Island, but going with expensive upkeep attractions and something that's fairly rare, I feel pretty confident in my pick in Invertigo being the next one to get the axe in 2026. The next Cedar Fair park we are going to head down to is Kings Dominion in Doswell, Virginia, which is Kings Island's sister park. And the next roller coaster I can see getting the axe at Kings Dominion is Anaconda, which does sound like that was in their 5-year plan before Volcano the Blast Coaster got taken out, and the only reason why they're keeping it around for the next couple years is using the parts from its sister ride Vortex to keep it running and operational for a couple more years. I can see them taking it out around 2028, around there, as a possible new expansion for that Safari Village area, for whatever replaces the Crypt and Volcano the Blast Coaster, since those are in similar areas. And really, there isn't too much to say about Anaconda. It has low popularity, really isn't that popular of a ride, not too many people like it. Doesn't get along lines even during the festive times like Halloween during the summers. I've never heard anyone say it's had longer than a 20-minute line, which was definitely not like Vortex. And overall, it's just a ride that not a lot of people like, and it's definitely a ride that they're going to probably be taking out within the next couple years to make way for something hopefully new and big. The next park we will be looking at is Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. And honestly, one of their most legendary and mixed-liked coasters in their lineup, I feel like, is going to be the next one on the chopping block, which is going to be probably a very popular opinion, but Gemini, which is a large racing mine train coaster, I did a review about it, and I do feel like Gemini is a kind of on its edge on its chopping block. Only reason why I'm saying that is because when I was there, they only ran one side of the train, and I don't know if they don't do that a lot, but they did that both days I was there, and it does feel like it has been decreasing in attendance for that particular ride. And I mean, it's kind of rough and stuff, but kind of more boring. And Cedar Point could probably come in and do something a lot better with that area of the park and kind of spruce it up a little bit more than it has been. Um, but when they could remove it, I'm honestly predicting this a lot sooner than later. And the only reason why I'm going to say a lot sooner than later is because it's a fairly unique roller coaster, like, in the world. The only other, like, super intense, high-thrilling, quote-unquote, mine train ride around, it would probably be Excalibur at Valley Fair, which I'll get into a little bit later. But those are, like, the only two similar types of ride that are remotely similar to each other. But anyway, I expect them to at least take it out in 2021, which is my prediction of when they could be taking out Gemini at Cedar Point. Next park we're heading up is in Canada, at Canada's Wonderland. And as a semi-popular belief, with either going with Wild Beast or Canadian Mindbuster, but understanding of the facts of what's happening with what the Canada's law is, and they have to fix their own stuff till it's completely broken or some stuff, permits in Canada, I'm going to go with Dragonfire, which is an aerodynamic roller coaster, and the only reason why I really see that happening is because it has a nice plot of land. They can take the go-karts off next to it, and with the rumors of them getting either a launch coaster or a wing coaster, I kind of feel like the launch coaster is going to come first, and it's going to be in that area of Dragonfire, which is in the medieval section of Canada's Wonderland. But overall, with aero coasters kind of ending of their service lives, it's starting to become relevant that these aero coasters are going to be taken out, no matter how many fans they have them. Plus, Dragonfire also fits pretty well with the criteria that Cedar Fair has, which is not very popular roller coasters, low attendance with them, and parts being hard to find, which fits basically perfect with Dragonfire. Doesn't have that many people going through the line to ride it, and the parts for Dragonfire would be pretty hard to get, knowing that Aerodynamics is also out of business. And I do feel like they will be taking this out around the end of 2021, 2022, around that area. Next park I'm going to is in California. We're starting in California now, and we're going to start off next to San Francisco and Santa Clara, California, with California's Great America. And I was looking at every roller coaster they had, and I was thinking, what's one ride that has really low attendance in that park and gets a lot of hate? And I feel like the pretty good ride to fit that category is Grizzly. And it's just a mediocre wood coaster. Doesn't really look like it does that much for what it's supposed to do, which is supposed to be a high thrilling ride, which doesn't look too good. But anyway, gives me more of a hurler vibe, and this isn't my official prediction of what I think they're going to put in Grizzly's place, but I do think they're going to be taking Grizzly out around 2023-ish or so, and might as well just throw this out here as a little preview for the next video coming out, but I do feel like Grizzly will be one of the rides that will be transformed into an RMC conversion and be one of the few parks that has an RMC Raptor and an RMC Iron Horse roller coaster. So that is my official prediction. I feel like that would be ready for at least the 2024 season, and so it'll be closing for 2023 for the 2024 RMC roller coaster. For the next park, we're going to go down the road to Southern California and go to Knott's Berry Farm. And this will probably tick off a lot of people, but just hear me out. The coaster I feel like is next on the chopping block for Knott's Berry Farm will be Montezumas Revenge. And the reason being is because it kind of fits the criteria that Cedar Fair is looking for of rides to take out. It's pretty popular and stuff, has lots of fans, but so was Kings Island. Kings Island was, Vortex was beloved at Kings Island. Quite a few people did not like it, but you had some diehard fans, and I feel like that's also with Montezumas. There's some people that don't really like it, but there's some diehard fans out for Montezuma. But it fits the criteria of an old ride. Its parts aren't being really produced anymore, from my understanding. It's a Schwarzkopf, and one of the last few Schwarzkopfs left in the United States. And it's sticking in there pretty well, but it is the last flywheel launch shuttle loop in the United States. And it's only going to take a matter of time before Montezuma's Revenge basically becomes Knott's Berry's history. I don't think they're going to take it out anytime soon, probably within the next 10 years, but I do feel like Montezuma's Revenge is kind of on a death sentence at this point, with being hard to get parts and an older roller coaster. I don't feel like Cedar Fair will basically try to kill Montezumas as soon as possible. They're trying to get some of their arrows out of the parks and the boomerangs and all those bad rides. But Montezuma, I feel like, will probably be coming around 2030, 2031, 2032. So 10 years in advance, but I still feel like Montezuma's Revenge is coming at the end of its service life. The next park I'm going to be talking about is Carowinds in Charlotte, North and South Carolina. And this really should not be a biggie, but the next roller coaster to be taken out for Carowinds, kind of hard to choose between Hurler and Nighthawk, but I'm going to choose Nighthawk. And the reason being is the Flying Dutchman model really is at the end of its era. And Nighthawk was the original Flying Dutchman. The only reason why they're keeping it around is because they're using the parts from Kings Island's Firehawk to keep it around a little bit longer. But I can see it being taken out in 2025. And 2025 would probably be about done for their replacement parts from Firehawk and using those spare parts to keep Nighthawk up. And Carowinds will definitely throw in the towel by then, because the expenses will just be way too high to keep up Nighthawk and try to keep it running for the next decade, because the ride's already almost 20 years old and it won't be able to keep on running since the spare parts that Vekoma used to make for the ride they no longer make, and there really isn't any point in trying to keep around an old flying coaster that no one really has any wants of keeping. And also it fits the bill for what Cedar Fair wants to do, which is just take out unpopular rides and high costing rides. And Nighthawk is pretty unpopular, and it has been keeping them at a really high expense. and high maintenances. So that is my pick for Carowinds and them taking it out in 2025. Next park we're going to is Worlds of Fun, and the roller coaster I am picking is Boomerang, which is a Vekoma Boomerang, which I have ridden. It's pretty bad and rough. But another reason why I'm picking this is, besides it fits the unpopular ride, and it definitely has more parts than the other rides do that on this list, but also it's next to the Dinosaurs Alive area, which they're taking out the Dinosaurs Alive part stuff. So if they do want to put a new roller coaster in, I feel like they can easily, even though Worlds of Fun has plenty of space to put in new rides and stuff, Boomerang will also free up that part of the Africa section, and hopefully they can fit something right in there and take off that dinosaurs spot and fill up the Boomerang spot as well. And I expect them to at least take out Boomerang 2024 or so. But yeah, that's about it for Worlds. The next park on our tour is Valley Fair in Minnesota. And the next coaster I feel like will probably be removed from that park is Excalibur. And like I said with Gemini at Cedar Point, those two coasters are basically sister rides, like Corkscrew and Corkscrew for both the parks. Excalibur and Gemini are basically the hyped up versions of a mine train, and basically one of the only few hyped up mine trains in the world. And I feel like Excalibur is definitely on the chopping block. It's been on the chopping block for a while, it's been rumored, because of how the river's been coming in and flowing into that area, making the ride really rough, and also the fact they want to do some stuff with that for the water park. So I feel like Excalibur is basically on the chopping block, and it has been on the chopping block for quite a long time. So I can see them taking Excalibur out within 2023 or even sooner. And that's my prediction for Valley Fair and Excalibur's fate. Okay, now we're down to the final two parks for Cedar Fair. And I'm going to do Michigan's Adventure last, but Dorney Park. Dorney Park really doesn't have any bad coasters besides Timberhawk. And I don't feel like a lot of people like that ride, so we're going to go with Timberhawk at Dorney Park, and like I said with Grizzly, it's kind of like that same thing, but it does have that historical value to it, so I don't know exactly if they would or not. So this is kind of a sleeper hit type park. I'm not positive on 100%, but I'm choosing Timberhawk, and a possibility that they would be taking out Timberhawk would be 2028, around that time. But yeah, that's all I got for Dorney Park. And the final park in the Cedar Fair video, removal video, and we are going to Michigan's Adventure. And this park does not get a lot of love by Cedar Fair. They haven't put in a new coaster since forever ago, like 2007. And I don't think they're going to be getting another coaster anytime soon. So I'm taking a wild guess. Wild stab. Don't even think this is going to happen at all. But I'm going to do Wolverine Wildcat. And they're going to be taking it out 2030, possibly. Heard it's pretty bad. Low attendance for that. But yeah, why Wolverine Wildcat? Don't really have an explanation of why they're going to take it out. Just, it's bad, and a lot of people don't like it, and it's the most unpopular ride at the park. So that's my guess, and yeah, that's it for Michigan's Adventure. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and we will see you guys out in the queues. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video, and we will see you out in the queues.